The holy and glorious great martyr Theodore the Recruit hailed from Amasea in Pontus and served in the Roman army. He lived during the harsh period of the great persecution of Diocletian, but kept his faith secret within the military camp. He did not do this out of cowardice, but because he had not yet received a clear sign from God. His unit had encamped at that time in Eucheta of the Hellespont, near a dense forest. There he learned that a terrible dragon had hidden within the forest and was terrorizing the entire region. Theodore immediately understood that this was the trial through which God would reveal himself to him. He entered the forest with boldness and courage and reached a village whose inhabitants had abandoned it. Only a devout Christian woman of noble origin remained there, Eusebia, who willingly showed him the creature's lair. The saint sealed himself with the sign of the Holy Cross and moved with determination toward the beast. The monster roared terribly and spewed fiery flames from its mouth, but Theodore was not frightened at all. Finally, he pierced it in the head with a powerful blow, and the beast fell dead at his feet. After this victory, Theodore gained an unwavering and deep conviction in the power and grace of God. He believed that with the help of the Lord, he could also defeat the invisible dragon, the devil. He therefore returned to the camp without any fear of openly professing himself as a faithful Christian before everyone. At that very time, the commander Vringus ordered that every soldier offer sacrifice to the Roman gods. Soldiers came to Theodore's tent and pressured him insistently to take part in the idolatrous ceremony. But he answered with courage that he worshipped only Christ and wished to offer sacrifice to him alone. Since they could not persuade him with misleading questions, they left him and went to interrogate other Christians. Theodore, with divinely inspired zeal, encouraged his companions to prove themselves worthy soldiers of the heavenly host. When night fell, he went to the pagan temple and burned down the altar of the goddess Rhea, the mother of the gods. This bold act caused enormous uproar in Eucheta, and a servant of the temple led him to Publius. Theodore offered no resistance, answered the questions calmly, and declared it was absurd to worship pieces of wood. Publius threatened him with the most horrible tortures, but the saint responded calmly and full of courage. He said that the power of Christ would be for him a source of joy and gladness amid the harsh torments. The enraged commander immediately ordered him thrown into a dark cell without food, without water, and without light. That night, Christ himself appeared to Theodore and comforted him with tender love. He promised him that his divine grace would become nourishment, joy, and sure protection for his brave servant. Theodore sang hymns inside the cell with such power that the guards believed he had much company. When they brought him again before the commander, he was offered the high office of High Priest of the Idols. The saint laughed scornfully at this proposal and assured them that he was ready to die. They then hung him upside down, with his head facing downward, and the executioners brutally tore his flesh. They used iron hooks, but the resistance of the brave martyr remained indomitable and unwavering to the end. The frightened commander realized that others would follow his example and condemned him to death by fire. Theodore walked calmly toward the pyre, unfastened his belt, and removed his garments and his sandals. He refused to be nailed to the ground, raised his hands high, and prayed fervently to the Heavenly Father. He beseeched God for the strengthening of all confessors of Christ, and then leaped into the fire of his own accord. The flames, as if wishing to honor the martyr, encircled him without touching him in the slightest. They formed around his sanctified body a kind of triumphal arch, and the saint peacefully surrendered his soul. The devout Eusebia purchased the sacred body of the martyr and transported it with great reverence to Eucheta. There a church was built in honor of the saint, which granted healing of soul and body to multitudes of devout pilgrims. Later, Julian the Apostate attempted to defile the Christians in a very cunning and devious way. He ordered the food in the marketplace to be sprinkled with blood from idol sacrifices during the first week of Lent. But the Lord did not abandon his people and sent his servant Theodore to Archbishop Eudoxius. He urged him to instruct the Christians to prepare koliva and to nourish themselves exclusively with it. The Church has honored this miracle ever since, every year on the first Saturday of Great Lent.